Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.
Welcome to Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry, and today it's my pleasure to have on the show the 2022 Governor's Humanities Awardee for Outstanding Humanities Teacher. We caught up with her in her classroom this week, Gloria Rasiang.
How did I even got my name in there? And it's like, oh, somebody nominated you. I'm like, I thank you to whoever that person is. I'm so honored. I was so surprised and happy.
How did your kids react?
I guess when I came in and they're like, Mr. Rasiang, but here, I'm Bilikera.
A little bit nosy.
Yes, nosy. So they're like, Miss, who's that? Oh, that's Mr. Carolinian. They saw the big smile on my face. And I'm like, oh, wait, because I just found out that I won something Humanities Teacher of the Year. And they're like, yay. I'm like, yay, but still shocked, like thinking, who nominated me? And Mr. Leo didn't even mention that, mention any names. So yes, I continued on the day, but at the back of my mind, I'm still smiling and I'm still happy. I'm like, hey, wow, somebody acknowledged my hard work, and I really appreciate it. And to find out later on that it was Claire Cabrera, I said yes.
Who is Claire Cabrera?
Claire Cabrera, she's also one of our colleagues here for CCLHS. She teaches Chamorro bilingual in Oliay.
So Chamorro Carolinian Language Heritage Studies, yes. And you were here at Francisco M. Sablan Middle School.
Yes.
What inspired you to become a teacher in the first place?
Growing up in Chalancanoa, our culture there is very strong. True. Not only at home, but also in school. And to have my mom as my teacher, seeing how the things that she taught us, and not only at home, but then in school, things that she doesn't do at home, but then I see it at school, bringing in people to teach us things like beads making, songs, singing songs, doing stick dance and all that. The rest she taught us at home, but then other things that, we don't really do at home, she makes it happen at school. And then we have that every day. We have those cultural activities and going to other schools and showing what we learn in school. Just the way I was taught in the bilingual program, I wanted to continue on what my mom did for not only me, but for me and my classmate as we were in her class, learning all those cultural things. I'm like, one day I want to do this too. I want to teach them the things that I'm learning right now. Because at home, they don't teach me, how to do stick dance, or that's if they put you in a group. Okay, ulatabwe, nanay, bulakabong, learn their dance.
Go with Auntie so-and-so.
Auntie so-and-so, and you guys learn this for an upcoming fiesta or something like that. But then to learn it in school, or from not only my mother, but she brings in a lot of our elders, and not only the culture dance, but making beads, muer, and even cooking. And they teach us how to properly use our vocabularies when we're with male siblings. I grew up, I do not have a brother. But then I do learn when I go to other family members how I should respect my male cousins. But as children, we were just we listen, we listen and learn. But then when we were together playing, it's a different story. But then when we're at school, and then we have our auntie there that came to teach us something, beads making, and then she sees us standing up and walking around. We're just second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and they'll scold us. Even in school, you still have to respect your male siblings. So I'm like, okay, I think those things that I learned too from our aunties when they come over. I guess maybe my mom didn't really want to scold us.
Maybe we could explain that a little bit more for people who are not familiar with that part of the Carolinian culture. Is that, like, number one, there's certain words that only men use? Yes,
there's certain words that only men use. Like one example.
No, don't say it.
I don't have to say it. Okay, so never mind. So yes,
I don't want to get you in trouble.
Yes, there are certain things that only male can say,
and it's not even just bad words. It's just like it can be the word for the same thing, like go.
Yes,
men will use a certain word, and women will use a different word for go. Right?
Yes, even to. I see how my aunties who talk to my father, and it's very different how they say come and eat when they talk to my father, and then to tell the sister okay, let's come over and we eat, they say something else, and the way they speak to my dad is very different. And then later on I learned that those are respect words. And like I said, growing up in a house where my dad was the only male, I do not have any male sibling, we're all girls. So it's very different because we don't hardly use the respect words. We do sometimes, but not how we use it we speak to the male siblings. So when I would go to my cousins, I hear those things, how my cousins talk to their brothers, and I'm like, what did you say? What is that? Like, I get confused because I don't hardly hear that. And then I would ask my mom, what is this? And she'll tell me, oh, that's the same. It's like, the synonym, but then it's just used to how you use it to speak to a male sibling. And then later on, of course, my mom brought those lessons up in the classroom. I'm like, wow.
So, a question: how do you discuss that in your class today, and with the students of 2023, and what is the response you receive from them?
It's funny because when I started teaching here, and when I do bring up those topic about respect words, the kids were like kind of shocked, and they were surprised. They're like, that's a lot to learn. That's a lot of vocabulary words for you guys to use. So you say this to that person, but you cannot say it to that other person. And I explained it to them, but they were like, that's very interesting. And the funny thing is, my cousin Ron Olapai used to work here too. So when he would come in, and sometimes I'm sitting at my desk, and I would get up, and then I explain to the kids. I tell him, Matthew, so I'm gonna go over there, and then I show it to my students. You see, Mr. Ron here is my male relative. So in order for me to go over there, he has to sit down. And they're like, why? Because that's showing respect to him. Also, so everywhere you go, you have to do those things, because I tie in not only vocabulary words, I show actions on certain things that we do. Aporo, you even walking by a person, you
lower yourself.
You lower yourself, you lower your head down. And, the kids were just amazed. Yeah. And some of them, I try to relate it to their own culture, like even the classroom setting. When the teacher talks and they want to say something, they raise up their hand. That's showing respect, and that's how we show respect to our male siblings. Sometimes they ask, why do we show more respect to the male side of our families? And one of my knowledge that they always tell me is, you have to respect your male, because if you do not respect them, it's like you shorten their lives. So for me, that's what my grandma would tell me when we're around, the families are together, they will scold me.
Another way I've heard it explained is it's mutual respect.
Yes, mutual, yes.
But it's just maybe a little bit more obvious because it's very outward and obvious what the women do. But my mom told me that one of the reasons it's done was, I think it was my mom or maybe one of my aunties, is really the men are going to protect the women.
Yes.
And I knew when I was a kid that if anybody bothered me and I were to tell my cousins, that person would be in trouble with my male cousins. So it's, we respect them and they also respect us, correct?
Yes, true. Same.
Well, we're chatting today with Gloria Rasiang. She's the 2022 Humanities Awardee for Outstanding Humanities Teacher, and we'll be back with more after this break.
The Northern Marianas Humanities Council bulaguinahanya puri historian Marianas dan kultura. Sinyon soda esisihanan formasyon gi zon mami website nmhcouncil.org, pat bisita gi YouTube, pat Facebook. Guahaloque diferentes clases Bluna Sinya un Fan. Y Northern Marianas Humanities Council has uzura todo y experiencia tautau.
Welcome back to your Humanities Half Hour. Gloria, we're going to talk a little bit later on about some of the resources that you've helped develop for Carolinian language, but I wanted to ask you first, what is maybe one or some of the valuable things you learned from your mother watching her teach, being her student in the classroom, that influences you today as a teacher?
I would say you have to love what you do. You have to appreciate your just seeing my mom, the way she is as a teacher, what she does for her student, it shows me how much she appreciates her culture as a Rafalawash, and that too instilled in me to do the same thing, because I too love my culture, and growing up I've seen how we're losing it. Even going to middle school, high school, everybody will be speaking English, and things, everybody's, life change. But then I remember back my mom that to never forget who we are as a Rafalawash, and to continue on and not lose our language and our culture. So that's one thing I see in my mom, and I too believe that Metasibura preserving, holding on to it, and continue practicing and doing what we Rafalawa, who we are as Rafalawash. That's
You've written a book, and in fact, I'm looking at your board here, and you've incorporated into a lesson plan.
Yes.
Numor elahil flores. And I was trying to figure out what this word was. Numor, and that's actually your Carolinian name.
Yes.
Tell us about this book.
This book, I made this book for my UOG class. So when I found out that it was going to be printed, I'm like, yes, I will have a resource. That's the first thing that came into mind. Okay, I'm going to write about the villages, because how many years I've been teaching about village, and then, we do not have resources. We don't have those books like in the regular classroom where, teacher's edition, just open to page 14 or grab the storybook about the village or this. So I'm like, okay, this is my chance to do a book for village and also incorporate the names of the flowers. So the kids not only learning about the villages, but also colors. So the book is about Numar, and Numar is actually my Carolinian name, named after my great-grandmother, Numar. So it's about Numar who goes to a different village to pick flowers to make a muer for her friend who is arriving from Guam.
Oh, I want to read the book. Okay, but not right now.
Later. Yes.
I probably learned some vocabulary. The council had supported a recent video project called Let's Learn Rafalawash, and you were an important part of that. What part did you play, and why did you decide to get involved?
I was the, what do you call it?
The teacher?
I was the teacher.
The resource.
Yes.
So the host?
The hostess,
teacher,
yes. So when they did share to me, who was that? I forgot I'm not sure if Carolinian Affairs Office was the one who called me and asked me to be the one to be filmed. I'm like, for what? And they said, you're gonna teach, and then they're gonna video you, and it's gonna be aired out on the internet, social media, and everything. I'm like, yes, I'll do it.
Really? I thought you were gonna say no. I didn't want to do it because so many times people are shy.
I've been wanting things like that because of the lack of resource that we have. Even just to Google Rafalawash or things on the internet.
Don't Google Carolinian because it will take you to North Carolina.
North Carolina, things like that. So I said, take me. I want to do it because I want to have, things like that our children, when they open up the Tamu internet, they see something themselves.
Yeah. So how was your experience with that?
I really do. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I'm, having to teach not only the Carolinian, but what did we do? We did first the alphabet, colors, shapes, and other things. And
no food? Come on, you gotta do the food.
Not yet. We haven't done.
Get to the food.
Yes,
that's the good part.
I need practice too on the food. But yes, we created those lessons that I mentioned earlier, and I like it because it's a resource for my students too. Mm-hmm. So for those kids that goes home and they have internet, I give them open up the website and listen to the activity that I gave out there and come back and share what you learned from there. Oh. So it's a very good tool for not only our students, but also for anybody who wants to learn Carolinian. We have it there. Like I said, when you open up the internet, you hardly find things about the Falawash. And that's one thing for us when the kids, some of them, they're losing their language already. And that's one thing. You open up, learn from there.
Again, the series is called Let's Learn Falawash. Now, there's one particular area where I heard you've had a lot of success, and that's in a competition that the public school system hosts every year. It's the Chamorro Carolinian Language Heritage Studies Language and Cultural Performing Arts competition. I don't want to say you're the queen, but I've heard a lot of good things about your students. Yes. Let's put it that way.
Yes, my students are the best. So since elementary, I believe in my students. They show how they're so into the lesson and everything in school. So when we first started off having academic challenge bowl, where all schools will compete from different grade level, first grade, second, up to sixth grade, because that's what we used to have back in elementary. So I believe we started at 2005 when our first time to have academic challenge bowl. So I said, okay, I'm going to bring in my kids and show how smart they are. And majority of my kids were non-speakers. By that time, 2005, a lot of my students were Filipinos, Korean, Chinese, Palau, Yapese. Then I would have like one or two Carolinian. So, when I would train them in school, whatever lesson that I teach my kids, I review it with them, and they go out there and they showcase how well they can do. Even I was shocked. I'm like, oh yes, I know. In the beginning, I was like, okay, I know they can do it, but to see my students out there and they're so relaxed. I'm so worried on the back, like, please answer her, when they would ask a question in Carolinian. And imagine, these kids that's not their language, but you have to answer back in the language. And not only that they do answer, people were like in shock, even me, because they were answering in complete sentence. Not only they can say, what is door in Carolinian? Door lalr Falawash nge asam. I'm like, okay.
Nice. Yes. Good job, teacher.
Yes. So from there, I continue to showcase my students, bring them out there to compete. And yes, we've been winning the champion. And, even when it comes to the Chamorro, sometimes our school, the Chamorro class, the students will not show up, maybe because of no transportation or whatever the reason. Then I have my kids that are Falawash that were there to participate. They speak Chamorro too. So when the Chamorro class don't show up, I bring my student to the...
Somebody's got to represent the school.
Yeah, somebody has to represent. I said, just go, go and you sit down and you compete for the Chamorro class. And they're like, but I'm not in Chamorro. Yeah, but you're from Cobbler, so just go, because we don't want to, our school is empty.
Yeah.
So we put my student there. I said, go, because you understand a little bit. Your dad is, your mom's Carolinian, your dad is Chamorro. When they go and ask the student, she end up winning the championship.
Well, her dad must be doing a good job then.
Yes, so up to now, well, of course, I moved here to FMS, and then we just started again. Not sure what year, somewhere up there, but
you got a lot of awards up there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Are those from different?
Different categories
and plaques. Okay.
Yes. So coming here to middle school, they started again. Mr. Jonas Parsinas started the performing arts for CCLHS. So the first year, my students did very well too, to garner a lot of win the first place in different categories, and also in Chamorro. So,
what do you hope the students who are in your class will walk away with, other than the technical ability to speak the language? What impact do you hope this experience here in your classes will have on them?
I do hope that they continue on learning more, especially for our speakers. I know that we do not have Carolinian in high school. It ends here, and that's the sad thing. But I do hope that they continue on learning more, and for those that is not their language, they continue also learning and appreciate everybody, like our culture as Carolinian, because like even now, seeing the kids, it's not even their culture, and then they go to Saipan Southern, then I see them that they're all still in the Carolinian mass or the Carolinian dance, and I hope that it continues, that they don't just because they're done, they go to high school, they're not learning, they don't have Carolinian classes there, but still continue on participating in joining whatever Carolinian activities or whatever they have, because I see that now, and I'm very proud to see that they continue. Those Chinese kids, even now they're the one doing the metawa shalafal. They lead the dance.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay, wow, that's awesome.
That's what you call cultural immersion.
Yes, and I'm very proud. I guess from what they've learned here, it shows me that they really love it. They enjoyed what they learned, and I see it again that they're doing it in high school, and I do hope that it continue on, that they don't forget about the Carolinian culture.
I really want to thank you for your time and for sharing today. Is there anything else you want to say that maybe I didn't ask about?
I just want the people to... there's only very few of us bilingual teachers here in the CNMI, the Carolinian bilingual teachers. I do hope and pray that our people step up and come out and teach the language, because there's very few of us. I might stop working soon and stay home and take care of my daughter, but I feel like I'm gonna neglect our Carolinian student. Who's gonna teach them? We need teachers. We really need teachers to come back and teach our language and our culture, because we don't have teachers right now. There's only 5 of us right now, and
across PSS?
Yes.
Carolinian.
Come and teach Carolinian bilingual. You speak it, you read it. Come and you teach our children, because we're gonna lose out. Our children are gonna lose out. Nobody to continue on the language and the culture in school. It's gonna be lost. Our language is gonna be lost.
Our guest today has been the 2022 Governor's Humanities Awardee for Outstanding Humanities Teacher in the Classroom, Gloria Rasiang. Gloria, thank you.
Thank you, welcome, Ms. Kat.
This has been your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
Your Humanities Half Hour is a production of the Northern Marianas Humanities Council, funded in part by the National Endowment for the Humanities. Any views, findings, or recommendations expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities or the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.